Yeah, 15
As a
years.
student or?
Yes, Kevin came in when he was about,
Wonderful.
yes, and then he graduated and went to the States, got married, has a beautiful little boy, and then he, his wife, and his child moved back here, and Kevin works full-time for the project as of October?
I started in January last year.
Oh, January last year. Really?
Yes.
Huh, so what'd you do between January and October that I didn't see you working? So January last year. So we're filming this so that Kevin can watch it over and over and over and over. Anyone see really Clockwork Orange? You want to see that? Way back in the 1960s, 70s film? It was like a psychological drama where you watch the same film over and over. That's going to be the outcome with Kevin. He's going to watch this over and over until he has it down the road. So we are set. Are you guys ready? So thank you again for letting us do this. We really appreciate it.
Uno.
Here we go. And having said that, it's going to be totally spontaneous. I have a general idea format of what I want to talk about. It's going to take about a half hour. It's just kind of a safety and orientation talk. But then when we actually get started, it's going to take like half an hour. You met Scooby?
Yeah.
Scooby used to have halo like this big. You used to have hair about this big. And then for some reason, maybe cleanliness, we had to cut it down. Are we set?
Estamos listos, Pepe.
Yes, that was?
Ujú.
Okay. So we're going to start. Thank you. First of all, thank you for coming down, and thank you, as I said, for letting us film you. Today is August 23rd, I believe, right? 2019, August 23rd.
January.
Today is January 23rd, 2019. Thank you for the editors out there. And so the project has been going on for almost 28 years. Okay. We're going to talk about why we're here. We're going to talk about what this place is, who the kids are, and then most importantly, we're going to talk about your experience, why you're here. Okay. A lot of you are doing something that 99.5% of the United States population won't even think about. They won't even think about it. And you've met people like that when you told them you were coming down. It's like, what? Didn't you see this stuff on the volcano? Third world, violence-stricken, poverty-torn country. How much are they paying you to come down?
Well, you choose us.
They're not going to do it. They might write you a check, but they're not going to do it. If you say, come join us, they'll say, well, we have commitments and kids at home and mortgage and have a job and my mother's birthday's coming up, etc. They're not going to do it. So that's really what we want to do here in this half hour. So let's start like this. It's a little bit of a process. First I want you to do is uncross your legs and just kind of put yourself in a comfortable position. And we're going to start with the candle and we're going to end with the candle because it is such a powerful metaphor that we started a lot of years ago. So just got to release your body. Okay, I want you to look now at the candle. Okay, I'm looking at the candle, and what I'm seeing is I'm seeing your white tennis shoes and black tennis shoes. No, work boots. Okay, I can see it all. I can see from, that's my peripheral vision right there. I can see both of my fingers. But I don't want to do that. I don't want you to do that. I want you to look in just at the flame. Just looking at the candle, and specifically at the flame. And if you're kinking anywhere, just kind of loosen up and just look at the flame. Just look at the flame. I keep getting distracted by the red candle, so I have to focus harder just on the flame. And even with that, I look at the rim. My side of the rim is black, and that distracts me. But I no longer see your shoes. I'm looking just at the flame, and not even the red candle. Now I'm focused on I can focus on the rim and the candle on the flame. So I'm just going to look at the flame, just the flame. just the flame. Let your eyes closed. With your eyes closed, just listen. Audiologists say that we can hear about and distinguish 75 different sounds simultaneously. That's why a mother or father can be in a crowded auditorium of thousands of people, and if you hear your little boy or girl say, "Mama," you know it's your child. How many sounds can we hear right now? Just listen. We hear motorcycles, 2 or 3 at the same time. We hear fountains, 2 or 3 going at the same time. If you listen to the fountains, you can probably hear the different pitches separating the different fountains. Your kids' sounds. A lot of laughter, maybe a half dozen kids mixing together and laughter back there somewhere. You might hear the person breathing next to you, you might hear your own breathing. Let's just focus on the sound of the motorcycles. You can also, ironically, you can hear your pulse beat. Even though we're so used to it from day one, even before we're out of the womb, that we don't distinguish anymore, but you can hear it. You can hear it. It can be tracked. As the blood rushes through the arteries next to your ears. Open your eyes. When people talk about coming down to Guatemala on the God's Child Project service team, one of the things that they say initially is, why are you going down? We're going down to build houses. We're going down to hand out clothing. We're going down to take medicines. And while we love that and appreciate that work for the poor that we work with, our poor brothers and sisters, that's not why we do what we do. And it's never been the goal of the God's Child Project Service Team program. The reason we do what we do is so that we get to know ourselves, our God, and our brothers and sisters better. Everything else is frosting on the cake. As I said just before we started, you guys are doing, just by being here, just by getting off the plane, you're doing more than 99.5% of Americans will ever consider doing. And that's actually taking part in a volunteer service group like this to a developing third world nation. And with the poverty and the violence, is Guatemala third world now, fourth world? Boy, it sure has changed. But you're doing it. So the second you got on the plane, you started to succeed, and the second you got off the plane, and you actually made it, you did it. There's nothing more you have to prove to anybody. So everything that happens between when you got here and when you leave is frosting on the cake, and just rejoice in that. The service team, you can now focus not on accomplishing anything, because you've already accomplished everything that you had to accomplish. Focus on getting to know yourself, and your God, and your brothers and sisters better. The reason we start with this, is because you're gonna, if you learn it, if you open yourself to the lesson, you're gonna take with you when you go home an amazing gift. And it's gonna come from the boys and the girls. You hear the kids in the background laughing? Okay? How they're running around and you see them and they're so joyous and bubbly and all that. We've done surveys of our kids. About 92% of our girls have been sexually violated, have been raped, sexually assaulted.
The young girls?
The girls before the age of 16. And 75% of the boys are victims of sexual assault. That's the population we're working with. 92% of the girls, 75% of the boys. Not very indifferent from the statistics that we have on the Native American reservations in the States, sadly enough. So why are they so happy? First of all, because they're here. Okay? When we bought the garbage dump, and I think Miguel Angel was with me at that time, and that was pre-Kevin, I don't even know if he was born yet. You were born in 92?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're still a big person.
yeah.
When this was a garbage dump, okay, and when we bought it, we sat on the hillside right over here, probably about at the top of the ramp, and looked out over the smoldering, animal carcasses and rotting garbage and paper and plastic, and we said, "Can you see this? Oh my gosh, can you see this? This is gonna be the most amazing place, a sanctuary." And everybody we told that story to said, "Wow, this guy's got to cut back a little." And we're like, no, just look at it, just look at it. You can feel it coming out of it. And 10 years later, this was it wasn't all here, but it was enough here that people said, "Oh, how'd you do it?" We did it because of God's inspiration, we supported the benefactors. But the kids can come here, we built it, the original name for this place was Huella de Dios, and Huella de Dios means God's thumbprint. In the middle of this hillside here was horrible slums. Now it's much better, much improved. Over here, San Felipe, horrible slums. Violence, street gangs, Huella de Dios, God's thumbprint, right in the middle of all of this. So the kids come here and they're happy. The kids are in school and they're happy. They're being fed and they're happy. They're getting their medical care and they're happy. I don't know if you brought clothing. If you brought clothing, they're getting clothing that is dignified, clean, not torn, not tattered, so they can walk with pride with their friends. They can walk, 13-year-old boys now wearing a new shirt and thinking, look, the girl that he's trying to get the attention from, the fact that his mother's dirt poor, okay, and all he has is rags, his self-esteem is in the garbage. Of course he's not going to draw anybody's attention. He's not going to feel good about himself. He's not going to feel confident. You're building homes, right? I'm looking at a group of people that are dressed to build homes today. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What you're doing is you're taking garbage piles, literally garbage piles, and you're building for them a safe, dignified place that when they're walking home and they're walking up the hillside or walking down the trail, they can look and say, "That's our home." Proudly. As opposed to being shunned or being looking down and still. And when you live in garbage, how do you get clean? You stink. You do, you smell. And so you go to classroom, you sit in the classroom and you already realize you didn't have any food, your water was bad, you're sleeping on top of dirt that's saturated with parasites and baby drippings and spilled soup, etc. And you smell, because chances are they're cooking the fire either in your shack or right outside. And then all your friends are looking at you going, "Oh." Just like they would in Texas, Minnesota, Maryland, okay, Annapolis. It'd be the same thing. Kids are kids are kids. So what makes them happy? All of that poverty that they're coming from, all of the physical and sexual abuse. Virtually all of our kids are victims of alcoholic or drug-afflicted households. Almost always one parent, and if there are two parents, it's very, very seldom that there's a good parent, that both parents are good. Maybe one or the other is drug addicted or alcohol addicted. It's almost better that they weren't there. Physical violence, sexual violence, emotional violence. So why can they be so happy like this? Bam, the candle. Close your eyes, the sounds. The motorcycles, the flame. Because this is the biggest gift you can take with you, that is life-changing. They have somehow mastered the skill choose what they're going to focus on while they deal with everything else. They don't ignore the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the fact that they can't go to school, they don't have money for notebooks, they have dirty clothes, they have bad water, they have parasites. If they got amoebas and diarrhea, it's just as uncomfortable if any of us have amoebas and diarrhea. They drink bad water, it's horrible for them. They might not be able to go to the pharmacy and get the medicines. We can. They got to deal with it some other way, or beg or borrow the money to get the medicine. But while they're dealing with that stuff, they choose what they're going to focus on. What are they putting on the front burner? While they have all these other issues going on in the back of life. By your being here, you give them dignity, you give them presence, and you recognize their value. When we closed our eyes and we just listened, and we heard 75 different sounds simultaneously, and we could do this if we wanted to take the time to do it. We could throw out everything we're hearing at the same time. Even my voice, the articulation, the inhaling of breath, the exhaling of breath. Okay? We hear that, and we sort it out, and we focus on the words. That is such a powerful gift. I had a friend here years ago. Her family were billionaires. They own probably 98% of all polyester manufacturing in Central America. Recycling plastics, recycling straws and bottles and plastic garbage bags to make polyester fabrics. And she would call me up. She lived in a house. I think they had a 22,000 square foot house. Huge, huge. 22,000 square foot home. But she would call me up on occasion and say, come on over for breakfast. So I'd get up and I'd go on the other side of town and go into her house. And there was deer, there were peacocks, there were artificial rivers and streams and lakes. It's gorgeous. Okay. And we'd have this breakfast, and I couldn't serve myself or ask for anything. She said to keep the staff working properly, I had to ring the bell. Could I have some more syrup, please? Well, that's enough, thank you. Okay, you kind of have to set the setting, right? And she was a wonderful, wonderful person. Then we'd go up to the roof, we'd be looking out over them, we'd talk about life, we'd talk about spirituality, and she'd confide things in me, and one thing she confided, she confided this to everybody. 20 years earlier, she'd been divorced, her husband had cheated on her, she got divorced. And as she had a drink, and then another drink, and another drink, by 10 o'clock in the morning, she was spewing angry, bitter, toxic. And I had to escape. Okay, I had to escape at that point. And her staff would take care of it. We'd repeat this over and over and over. She died of brain cancer. That kind of toxicity going through her system. It's the reverse lesson of the candle. She couldn't break off that. She chose to focus on that one singular event, surrounded by all of this beauty, with enough money to build schools and clinics and art centers, museums, anything that she wanted. But by 10 o'clock in the morning, the toxicity of her focusing on this divorce 20 years later was destroying her and didn't kill her. Okay? That lesson is invaluable. We have the power to choose what we're going to focus on while we deal with everything else. Now, the big mistake sometimes people make is they think, well, I can just ignore this stuff and it'll go away. And we can't. We can't ignore the fountain and the kids and the motorcycles and everything else. They're there. We just don't have to listen to them. Most of our life will be going through and we'll just get all of the songs together. But then we can switch the gears and focus on this. When it comes to our spirituality, and I'm not at all ashamed of my Christianity, when it comes to our spirituality, there are times that we have tough moments. And we look at people, I've had people come up, I have a cigar burn here, I don't know if you can see it. There's a cigar burn on my arm, where this man was chasing his wife and his kids. And you might have been in the house, Miguel.
Yes.
Miguel also came in when he was that big. And this man came in and he was chasing his wife and his kids, and he was drunk, and he was going to beat them up. And I let him in, and I closed the door, and he's banging at the door, and he's afraid he's going to break the window. And so I opened the door, and I said, go away. You're not coming in. He said, they're my wife, they're my children, they're my property. And I said, go away, I'll call the police. And he took out his big cigar, and he lit it. Took a big draw on it. And then he blew the smoke in my face, and when I was going, like that, he put his cigar under my arm. And I just wanted to deck the guy. Seriously, just wanted to deck him. It would have been so easy. But the thing that I've learned to do with this, again, we have the power to choose what we're going to focus on, is I've taught myself when I'm dealing face to face with people like that, is to superimpose over the face of that man I'm looking at, even though our faces are this far apart from each other, the face of Christ. That's, I have to superimpose it. Otherwise, I'm going to deck the guy and I'm going to push him back and I'm going to pummel him before I even realize it, because there are still red embers burning into my skin. We have the power to choose what we're going to focus on, and we have to teach ourselves to not look at the shoes, not look at the boots, not look at the floor, not look at the red, not even look at the rim, but just to focus on the flame. We can do that. You're doing something by marshaling your resources when you came here, when you signed up. What's your name? Kim. Kim and I go way back as friends. In fact, we went to the Niagara Falls. Is that in July? Yes. It was in July. Yeah. Kim and I went to the Niagara Falls together, and we're at the Niagara Falls and we're taking pictures. And all of a sudden, she's upriver, and I'm taking pictures, she's taking pictures, and all of a sudden you hear this splash. And I turn around and I look, and Kim has fallen in the river. And she's going towards the falls. And I have 3 options that I can do, and there's only 3 options I can do in that situation. And I've never, ever heard someone present to me after 30 years of this metaphor, a short story I wrote when I was a lad. A 4th option, there's only 3 options. The first option is what most people do. I can stand there and watch her. And she's going down, I can say, Kim, 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 or help, 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 which most people don't even do, but I can watch her, and Kim, or help. And what's going to happen, Lord? She's falling down the river and over the falls. Second thing I can do is I can jump in and swim out to her and grab her. And say, I've got you. And what's going to happen? Adios. The third thing, which is what you are doing right now, is this. I can take off my backpack, I can run down the river, I can find a rock to stand on, a tree branch to hold on to, another tree branch, and I can reach out with that tree branch, standing on the firm rock, holding onto the tree, and when she comes by, I grab her and I pull her in. That is the only way I can save her. In real life, taking off the backpack, unburdening ourselves of the garbage that's holding us back. Are we drinking too much? Are we holding in resentment? Are we not focusing on that which makes us happier, brings us closer to Christ, makes us a better person? Are we hanging out with toxic people? Unburden that. Take off that backpack. And then marshal your resources. What are your resources? Health, finances, ability to travel, American passport. What are your friends? It's the strength of your church, the strength of belonging to Rotary. Go on and on and on. But marshal your resources. Take an inventory of your resources and put them to work to help yourself and help others. I'm working on a book right now called First Step Out. It's for the first generation of families, generational poverty, the first people that break out of poverty. What are they going to do? How can they get out of that? And what can they expect? They can only help others from their excess. They have to take care of the core of themselves first. And then once that is met, then they can start to help their brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and everybody else around them, or else they're not going to break out. They have to go down and marshal their resources, and then they can help out. It doesn't do any good to just jump in the river, which you're not doing. You're not doing that. You've taken the third option, to come down as a service team, to bring your resources, to stay in safe houses with clean showers, and you can shower at the end of the day and help the people that way. That metaphor is so powerful. Kim, we'll go to Niagara Falls today, we'll try it out. I'll push you in the river. Yes. Okay, so while you're here, the candle, we have the power to choose what we're going to focus on. You are doing the right thing and you're doing something that most people are not doing. And 99.5% of people will never do something like this. Some people probably said you were crazy. Some people probably said, are you nuts? Are you, okay, here's $50, here's $100. But they're not going to come. But you did. Everything that you do on top of that, getting off the plane, is crossing on the cake. So right now we could say thank you, and we're done, and you guys can go home. Okay, but you're not, because we're doing that third thing, helping our brothers and sisters. While you're here, we want you to be very safe. Okay, your passports, have you collected them? Passports are collected, you exchanged money. Don't wear any jewelry or anything. The general rule is if you can't lose it, don't wear it. Okay, you can put it away. Nice watch, whatever. If you can't lose it, don't wear it. There's a lot of poverty around here in the hillsides, etc. Someone coming along, they could take that pair of sunglasses. I'm always afraid of this cross, which you guys will actually get at the end of your service team experiences. Was made for me with one of my kids. It's called the God's Child Project Service Team Cross. You probably have one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm always afraid of this because this one the kid actually made for me in gold. And I've been told that it's actually a couple $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it can be made out of pure gold. Having said that, I'm afraid of big landfill now. Because someone's just coming and grabbing it and ripping it. So when I'm down here, I kind of keep it pretty hid, but I never take it off. If you can't lose it, don't take it with you. Same thing at night when you go out. If you can't lose it, don't take it with you. Okay. Cell phones and all that. If you have cell phones, I use my cell phone to take pictures all the time. If you can back your stuff up, to Dropbox, you could open a Dropbox.com account right now and then just upload all of your pictures and everything. Chances are nothing's going to happen, but we want you to be safe. So there are two things. There's your property. Three things. There's your property, there's yourself, and there is your service and your experience. So for your property, if you can't lose it, don't take it. Okay? Your passports are all locked up, that's good. Yourself. There's something called BARF diet down here. Okay, you probably read that in the handbook. BARF stands for bananas, apples, rice, toast, and horchata. Horchata is a very popular rice milk. You might get stomach problems. Okay, down here we have parrots and toucans flying around. Up in Texas, you probably have robins and crows. We get Murray, just guessing. Mockingbirds or I don't know. Okay, they're different birds, but they're both native to their own habitat. Down here we have stomach bacteria, which is perfectly normal and good, and we need it to digest our food. But it's not the same stomach bacteria that we have in Minneapolis or North Dakota or Maryland or Texas. It's just different. So when your body gets a bacteria, even though it's a normal healthy kind, it's not a parasite, and it comes in with the food or whatever, your body doesn't recognize it, and so it says, get rid of it. And we all know how that happens, right? That's totally different, having a squishy stomach or whatever, than having parasites. The food that you're getting is very good, but you might have some upset stomach. If it is, just tell us, tell Kevin, we all deal with it. People down here, they go to the States, they get it. It's just different. It's good, but it's different. It's how, so we call it the BARF diet. It's actually, that term, we invented it here in God's Child Project, and so many universities have picked it up and used it that it's become quite a common term in terms of diet to eat overseas. Avoid things like 7-Up, anything gaseous, anything buttery, greasy. Okay, and just tell us, we'll take care of it. We deal with it all the time. There's no reason for anyone to suffer in silent or not so silent misery. That's one thing. So the stomach, the things to avoid, if it doesn't come out of a can or a bottle, don't eat it. A can, a bottle. Avoid dairy, salads. Dairy includes ice cream. Yeah. Avoid avoid dairy, avoid salads, and avoid the ice in water. Okay, if the can of Coke that you ordered, or doesn't come chilled, you know what, enjoy local room temperature Coke, but the ice, you don't know where the ice is coming from. I can guarantee you they're not making it out of bottled ice, out of bottled water. Okay, so that's one of those things, brushing your teeth, brush your teeth off with water. If you need more water for your house, we'll give it to you. Don't use the sink. You guys, all right? So the water, barf diet, so the H2O, dairy and salads. Why salads? Even though they wash them, they're washing it in water, they're not washing it in bottled water. And also they irrigate the fields with water that's probably not very clean. So, between all the folds and lettuces, you don't know what exactly is still staying in there. The kids down here love to be held. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
No, they love it. Kids in the States are like this. I was doing a presentation on human trafficking once, and I walked through the class, and I went like this to a kid, and the teacher went like, stop. And all I did was I just casually put my hand on the shoulder, and she said, stop. And I had to go out in the hallway, and the teacher had explained to me that it was very bad, and she looked at it. I was like, oh my gosh, seriously. But it is serious. Okay? Kids down here, they love to be held. The kids, they have this thing down here. They love making lines, and I throw them up in the air and catch them and put them down. And, some of these kids weigh 20 pounds, and I throw them up. Okay, they love to be held. Now, you do have to remember that a lot of these kids, the houses that you're building, the houses that you're seeing, they have lice, they have mites, they have scabies. So don't pick up a kid and let them hold you and hug you and all that. You just have to, for your own protection, you have to be hands off. Hug them, hold them, pick them up, spin them. But if you can pick somebody up at arm's length, or hug them at arm's length, that's much, much better and safer than taking them in and giving them a whole body hug. It's just because of lice, scabies, and I don't think we've ever had anybody take home lice, ever, in 28 years. Shower, and also avoid that. Get out of here. Pick them up, hold them, love them, spin them around. Kids gonna be just as happy if you go, wee, as if you give them a full body hug. All right? So the touching, there are good touches and there are bad touches. Those are just obvious. You don't want to pick a kid up, you don't want to touch the butt, you don't want to touch the front, you don't want to touch the breast of a girl. Those would be bad touches. Just like in school, red zones, green zones, just common sense. Okay? But kids, pick them up and hold them. And if you see me down there, the kids will come right up. And there's a little bit of an art to hugging them all without letting them, get too close and looking down at their head and you see like this rice bowl. And that does happen. We can disinfect the kids